So let's meet the next advocate. We're sticking with the topic of ADA. We'll meet another person who got a scholarship to attend this conference. And this time it's somebody from the US because it's an American conference. So we thought it would be interesting to contrast somebody from outside the US and from within the US. So without further ado, welcome back to Doc Day, Chelsea.
Good morning and good evening to everyone out there in dedoc Day. How's it going?
It's going really well so far. How about you?
I'm good. It's morning here, so it's pretty good. We the hurricane passed over where I am in Florida, so there's really no threat of that at all.
Glad to hear that.
So you can see all the sun on my face right now.
Yeah.
Now that I'm glowing here on your screens and everything.
I'm glowing with the studio lights, but I'm also glowing because I get to see you again and hear all about your experiences at ADA. Tell us, what was it like for you? You've been around in the advocacy space for a long time, but you mentioned that this was your first real ADA experience.
Yeah, it was kind of my first real experience because this time around, I think I attended ADA many years ago as I mean, it was a while back. I can't even remember how I got an opportunity to go, but it was different then because I was pretty green. I hadn't really been around in the advocacy space very much. And so it was just really kind of a first time, prom, like Lindsay said. It was my first time. I didn't know what was going on. So I was just kind of like taking it all in.
You didn't know that dances.
Yeah, I didn't know dancing, which was kind of disappointing. But this time around, it was more of a diabetes family reunion because I got a chance to see a lot of associates that I met along the way when I first started out that I hadn't seen in years. Some I hadn't seen in over 10 years, just conversing with them online throughout the years. And so that was fun to get the chance to see them again. But this time around, I went in with different eyes. I went in with an understanding of a pretty good understanding of how things work here in the States, as far as the orgs and how they operate. But this time I got a chance to go behind the curtain and see a lot of the background.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that exactly?
Well, when we got an opportunity to be at the dinner that we had at the restaurant, we were in the realm of all these different people from different orgs, like from Friends for Life and like Phil Sutherland. When I saw Phil, I was kind of taken back because like I've known Phil since he was a kid. Back when Team Type 1, they were just a bunch of ragtag guys starting out in Atlanta. And that was when I first met him. And then to see where he's come now. Well, then again, it kind of made me feel like a schmuck because I was like, gee, this kid is astounded all these things. And here I am still punching the clock. What am I doing wrong with my life?
Don't put yourself down. You know that so many people out there are really looking up to you. So share with us, like, what was it like being at this conference? Were there any standout session or moments that you remember?
The one thing, I guess the standout was what the ADA was putting on in the back. There was a group of ladies that were leading a kind of symposium about diversity in the diabetes community. And there were actually students there from different colleges that were attending ADA. And that kind of took me back because that kind of gave me a feeling that, okay, we're making a change here. Now we're actually getting into these young people's heads a little bit. And so that really stuck out for me because a lot of the scientific things kind of goes over my head. I'm more of I want to find out how we can get these devices and treatments in the hands of people who don't have access to it. So that's kind of where my lane is. And one thing that stood out was I kind of walked through the session where all the different institutions, educational institutions, were actually putting on their displays of the researches that they were doing. And I was looking for colleges of historically Black colleges and universities to see if they were representing it all. I may have missed it if they were there, but I didn't see any. And so that kind of stood out to me and I saw it as an opportunity for these educational institutions to get in there and put something out there that can be seen. Now, the one other thing that kind of kind of stuck in my head, what you and I were talking about yesterday, is like these vendors that they had in the area where all the big money orgs were that actually can buy these spaces. Now, a lot of people don't understand how those things work. You have to pay for that placement on this floor. And so the bigger companies get the bigger spots and the smaller ones get the smaller ones. Now, there were a couple of vendors there that were selling things, hawking things that had nothing to do with diabetes. One group was in the back selling these gel packs you could put in the microwave or in ice to wrap around your leg or your foot and everything. And that could be, something geared towards neuropathy. Okay, I could see that as a fit. But up front, in a more expensive spot, there was a couple of guys up there selling digital projectors and Bluetooth headphones. And I'm like, okay, so now we're on Canal Street in New York. We're hawking. It's a flea market now. Is that what we're doing? And it kind of embarrassed me because, like I was telling you yesterday, it was like I invited my friends over to my apartment, but I forgot to clean up. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, this is
your American perspective. That's interesting.
Exactly. I mean, that's my American perspective, because it's like, oh, just these people. That's why it was like a family reunion, because there were those two cousins. They were actually, it's like, why did they invite them? Why they do this every year? And so that kind of stuck to me, because in my mind, obviously they had to pay money to be there. So it seemed like more of a money grab to either fill a spot that wasn't taken, or they just took the money. And plus, another thing that stuck out when we got to sit down with Dr. Bob and I forgot her name that quick.
Part of the leadership of ADA who welcomed us to the conference. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And sitting down with them, that was good that they actually sat down and, listened to what we were saying, because that kind of stuff is few and in between here in the States. It's hard to get people to sit down and actually listen to you as an advocate. And I see that there's a big, just like Lindsay said, there's a big opportunity for more advocates to show up and be seen at these places. I mean, definitely these conferences, because you have to go in with a mindset of owning your space when you're an advocate. I have a cousin who's written a book she's a dietitian, and she went to a conference and she was kind of made to feel like, kind of an outcast, because she wasn't expected to be there. And they kind of more or less kind of disrespected her a little bit. And, I wanted to teach her is, when you go into these spaces with these healthcare professionals, you have to own your space. You know why you're there. You have to show them that you meant to be there, because the truth of the matter is, especially here in the States, a lot of these healthcare professionals, they're good people. I get it. But some of them only see you in two ways when you go to these conferences. They either didn't expect you to be there, or they don't want you to be there as an advocate. And so that's why you have to own your space, stand your ground, and be seen and be heard. If they aren't listening, then you yell louder till they hear you.
I love that.
That's just me. That's just me, because it's come to that. We're in, here in the States, things are going totally haywire in so many different ways, politically and socially, that you really have to own your space and be heard before anything can be changed. It's might not change in your lifetime, but you can at least be the catalyst. Like I always say, you got to be the pebble that creates the ripple, that creates the wave, so to speak.
That is really, really good advice, Chelcie. And we can see the comments from your fellow dedoc voices coming in. They agree, and they're huge fans of yours. So thank you so much for sharing your insights. And thank you for joining us today at Doc Day.
Thank you. It was so great to see all of you.